All right, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Faith in Home Buying. I love equipping people of faith for the home buying process, and also too that I love bringing stories to the table. Now, whether they are stories from clients of mine or just stories that I've heard or been privy to, this particular story it strikes a really amazing chord. And before I get into anything, I just really want to introduce my special guest. She's a colleague, she's a friend, and she's just an amazing realtor overall, specifically focusing in the Sacramento and surrounding areas, but she does dip a little bit more in the Bay Area too. But Jen Pulowski, can you let everyone know who you are and where you service at? And yeah, just say hi.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks for having me. So I'm Jen. I've been working in the real estate business for about 17 years now. Um, Raised in San Jose, California, lived there pretty much all my life, and I moved to the Sacramento area almost 4 years ago. So I do a little bit of both. A lot more people from the Bay coming up this direction. So
Yep.
it's been a very busy market.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really do appreciate you taking the time to do this. And just so for my listeners, like the reason why, I said, you have to be on and share this. We were just talking. Matter of fact, she takes care of a lot of my clients that I do send up in that way. So I thank you for all your hard work that you do for them up there in that Sacramento area. And we had a conversation, and she was talking about a experience that she just had with one of her clients up there in the process. We talk about just kind of crazy stories and home ownership and just things that happen, right, as agents and that we are a witness to. And when she started to share the story, like I immediately was like, oh my gosh, this is not meant to just kind of be in the vaults of our minds and just like not discussed. It really is intended for someone out there to really see that there's hope in home ownership in so many untraditional ways. And, a lot of times I focus on, a lot of the buyers and, the hardship aspect and the overcoming. And I think this has a kind of a little tinge of all of that. But most importantly, it has that one factor that you just kind of can't put your finger on, and it has to make you scratch your head like, okay, that's not the normal. And so before we get into the story, I just, I have to say this, like I'm so grateful for those in my industry that really represent not only just the dollar, because truth be told, you see Stars of Sunset and you see, Million Dollar List, and you see all of these shows, and they show only like one, like barely like 5% side of real estate. And we lose so much of the human connection. We lose so much of the stories that really make home ownership, because this is one of the biggest decisions that most people have made or make or will be able to make in their lives. And it's a very emotional situation. Even those that say they want to try to take emotion out of it, it is emotional. It's emotional, and it has to do with your money. And sometimes it's the largest amount of money people are dealing with on a basis, and kind of signing their life, here for a 30-year commitment, right? But I'm so thankful for agents that really see past the commission aspect. And and this is one of the reasons why too, in bringing on someone like Jen, who is my colleague also too at Equity One Real Estate. And I could say this, at where I work and the brokerage that I'm a part of, Equity One Real Estate out in San Jose, California, and we have other offices over there in Los Gatos, Orange County, and hopefully soon some others. But one of the things that I know Mike Bowie, who is the owner of EQ1, one of the things that he really does, and I know this, prides himself on, is just the people connection and being able to service our clients to the best capacity that we can. And in that, in doing that, and doing business a little bit different than a lot of people, hopefully bringing real estate a little bit better top of mind to people. Because truth be told, when I started like about 17, 18 years ago, the first thing I heard was that real estate agents were on the same level, seriously, trust-wise, of used car salesmen. And that floored me. And it could have kind of just stopped my heart right then and there, and for me not to go forward. But I said, I'm going to make a commitment. I'm going to make a commitment that I'm not going to be that way. And whoever I come in contact with, as far as a buyer, agent, seller, anyone, I'm going to show them that no, that's not how all of us are. That may have been your experience, and it may have been that way in the past, but it's not that way now, because we're held to so much more accountability, especially with social media, the things that we do, and hoping to shed as little as I possibly can in this little bubble, that the Bay Area, that real estate can be done differently. You can have people inside the transaction that really do go above and beyond, even sometimes to our own detriment, sometimes to our commission's detriment. But it's to get the job done, to make sure that our client is satisfied, and to make sure that we have done the best that we possibly can do in the situation. Just means something hits differently in this generation. So that being said, Jen, again, I thank you. I know, like, camera and stuff is not your thing, but you look so good on it. But so you've been in the industry for a while. This particular one, which you probably have some other ones that were really interesting, but this one, why did this story stick out so much to you, and whatever kind of backstory you can give us in order to understand how it even came about?
So, interestingly enough, I'll tell you about my first client. So
Mhm.
earlier this year, I was helping a client of mine purchase a property. Her sister went with her to one of those showings to,
Mhm.
kind of give that approval of, great
Right.
area, perfect for her and her boys. Well, during one of the showings, her sister FaceTimed her husband at the time, and they both like gave great approval to it. They both liked the property a lot. At the time, her sister wasn't really looking into purchasing. It was just for her other sister.
Mhm.
So a few months later, my client's sister, her sister's husband suddenly passed, the one that
Mm.
was on that FaceTime.
Yeah.
He left behind his wife and two young boys,
Wow.
two and age 2 and 4.
Wow. You're
So I
5.
got a call
Mhm.
from my client, and she asked me to help her sister find a home for her and the boys. At the time, they were living in a townhome, and she just wanted a lot of outdoor space for her boys. So it
Mhm.
just so happened that the home she wanted to put an offer on, and we looked at a couple that day, um, happened to be located right next door to the home I had shown her sister earlier that year.
Okay.
Literally right next door.
I'm finding out information that is even better from the first time that we spoke, because
I didn't.
these are
I don't think when we first talked about it, I don't even think I gave you that part of that story.
no, you didn't. That's even
Yeah.
wow. Wow.
So
Okay.
the
Okay.
connections, it was, and I think at the time she wasn't even, I remember my client saying she wasn't even sure if they were going to stay in the Sacramento area or move out of
Mm.
state. But
Mm.
the fact that if her sister had purchased that home, maybe they'd stay.
Right.
Anyways, I asked my client to write a letter.
Mhm.
This crazy market right now, I felt like her story should be told,
Mhm.
and it was important that her story be told because the seller actually was an empty nester, has been living in the home for many, many years. So we submitted an offer Wednesday night. And I won't
Mhm.
forget it because typically I like to ask, well, can we get a fast turnaround? But
Mhm.
the listing agent said, she's going to want some time to look at all of the offers. We'll probably review on Friday, possibly,
Mhm. Mhm.
but just go
Mhm.
ahead and submit the offer. And she already had a couple in hand.
Mhm.
Um, I ended up getting a call that night, that same
Mhm.
night.
Mhm.
And the agent literally was in tears. And
Wow.
so she said, Jen, my client wants to just accept your offer, just as is.
Mhm.
Price, terms, everything. And I was in tears because I was like, I thought you were gonna wait a couple days. And she was just
Right.
like, no, let me give you some background on my client. She said her client lived in a home not far from there, but a 4 bedroom, on a big lot. And it was, she lived there with her husband and her young kids at the time. Well, she moved into this property because her husband suddenly passed. And she
Wow.
just felt that they shared that same journey. So as it turns out,
Let me pause you real quick
sure.
because we can't skate too far past this.
Yeah.
Granted, this first segment, because the show goes like this. So to my listeners, so let me pause real quick. Let me go back real quick.
Okay.
The letter and writing it, and I have to put an asterisk there because most people now, and I like the last year or so, in our industry, we've had kind of attack really
Mhm.
on doing like letters or giving any type of like information on the buyer and just saying, oh, let the numbers just do the talking. And I need to say, like, I am so not for that.
I agree.
I know my buyers and my buyer's heart, and a lot of my sellers as well. And in situations like this, which you guys, you just when we hear the rest of the story, but it's situations like this that I always think that, wait a minute, back in the day, especially when, in the 80s, 90s, I mean, shoot, really pre 2000s, you would literally sit across the table and talking with the seller, buyer, everyone at the table,
Oh yeah.
talking about the offer, or talking about going forward, whatever it may be. But now it's a problem, just because some people have decided, and then some people have actually done some bad stuff, but they've also decided that there's people just kind of negating the system and probably getting pissy and mad that their offer is just so high priced and it's not being accepted for whatever reason. And this is the importance, and we're about to end this segment, but when we come back, we'll finish the story. But this is the importance of, if you're a seller, even a buyer, this is the importance of why letters are so important, why it's so important to share information, because you never know in the midst of sharing what it is that maybe even the listing agent is going through, because this is far more than just money. This is a situation, this is someone's establishment, it's their legacy, this is their home, this is their family. So when we come back, we're going to finish that story, but I had to put that caveat there because we do have a big thing right now that people are talking about with letters. But stay tuned. Tamika Ellsworth, Faith in Home Buying, equipping people of faith for the home buying process. All right, everyone, and back again. So yes, this story is just too good to just stop. So equipping people of faith for the home buying process. I'm with my friend and colleague, Realtor Jen Pulowski, and she's talking about just one of the most miraculous stories that have happened just recently on tour. And we just got finished talking about just fair housing, in between that, and I want to make sure that people are very aware that as far as the listing agreement is concerned, yes, you can check a box now that states whether or not you want to have a letter or whether you don't. We're really kind of getting tight on a whole lot of regulations, but you do have an option as a seller, and I hope stories like this kind of let you see why the options are even out there. So Jen, sorry for interrupting you, but go ahead and complete the rest of this amazing story.
Well, just to add to that too, I did tell my client's story to the agent
Yeah.
over a conversation. Um, and I told her I'm going to submit it with a letter, and it's to your discretion whether or not you want to share it or not. So just wanted to make that clear too. But I think it's always important to have the conversations before you submit an offer.
Right.
Have that conversation with the agent. Just let them know kind of what your client situation is, because that can really make or break any deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, that night when she accepted our offer, as I mentioned, I think the listing agent and myself, we really felt like we did. We just really, for the first time in a long time, I really felt like this is what our job is about. It's connecting people and just giving people hope. And that's the one thing, the seller was so happy that she took my client's offer. And at the same time, my client, she said she was in tears. She was like, for the first time in a while too, that she has hope that she can raise her boys in that house. And that seller also has grandkids now. that, that she watches at her home. So it's given her so much hope and it's just so much faith.
Yeah, no, I think the connection there though, I mean, we kind of glossed over it though, but the connection of being able to, she had just had a loss,
Mhm.
and for the seller, the one reason she moved into the house is because of the loss. And the kids were about the same age at
Yeah,
the time that
kids
both
were
of them
really young.
had
Mhm.
these life experiences. What are the odds of that?
I know.
What are the odds of that? And let's truth be told, I mean, the price, she didn't come in lowballing a price. She came in
No,
with fair market value
he
on
did.
price. I just want to
He
let
did.
people know that.
Yes,
It's not
for
like she
sure.
was begging for sympathy or for
No,
her offer to be accepted being like extremely low. No, no, no. This wasn't the case. She
no,
was
we still came
absolutely
in.
qualified to
Girl.
purchase the home. It just so happened that it lined up. And a lot of people to understand too, when you have an offer deadline on a home, remember it's still at the seller's discretion as
Mhm.
well whether they're going to take an offer before a deadline. So it's always good, especially if you are going to put something in that's we call it preemptive. So before a offer deadline, if you are going to do that in your agent, for them to find out details, find out information. And Jen, you did a great job in doing that. And I think all agents really need to learn from that. Like, don't just submit an offer and just never talk to the listing agent. Don't do that. Talk to them, sell your clients. So just in case they don't read a letter, just in case they don't, want to even submit it or give it to the seller, which some of them don't, some of them just read it for themselves. But it's always a good thing to make sure that you're advocating for your client, no matter what the situation
Agree.
is. And, so let me ask you this, like, as an agent, like, even in the midst of that type of situation, how did it feel when you know that you're in the midst of a connection that's happening that's not typically normal?
I think what a lot of our clients don't see is that it takes a lot of effort and work on the back end. And the one thing we try our best to do is to not add stress, right? As you know, it can be a very stressful process. And I think that, at the end of the day, for me, I just want to make sure that my clients, obviously they find the home of their dreams. At the same time, they did pay fair market price for it, but just the fact that they're happy and they feel really good about what they're purchasing. It's a
Mhm.
huge milestone to purchase a home.
Right. Hmm. And specifically in the area that she wanted. So pretty much it was like, if this is not the home, then I'm probably going to move out of the area.
Right.
And I'm assuming this was like the first offer, first house, first offer.
Yes.
even, even, I mean, there's a miracle in that, to be honest with you.
It is. I mean, and it's, everywhere we go right now, it's multiple offers.
Yep.
I'm seeing 10, 20, as much as like 40 offers on homes. And
Hmm.
I really do feel like the relationship between the agents is really important as well. Like
Hmm.
you said, you're the advocate for your client, and you have to make sure that that communication with the agent is just really important.
Right, right. And how it's presented, too, how you
Exactly.
present yourself as an agent, how you present yourself, because any other agent could have been like, okay, well, thanks for the letter, and we'll see. And this is a nod to even that listing agent of thank you. Thank you for putting the human element to it, because could they have had multiple offers, sit here, bid and do some craziness? Absolutely. She probably would have got about 10 offers.
Yeah.
But again, it's the seller's decision on making that choice and making that decision on what they want to do. And they're entitled to that. And I think that's wonderful. Talk a little bit about the area that you're in, Jen, over there in Sacramento and in Elk Grove, really.
Yeah.
Elk Grove, Sacramento area, so people can get an understanding on how that market is out there, especially during that time.
Well, I don't think it's slowed down at all.
Mhm.
this last year has been really, really busy. You have a lot, obviously, because of COVID. A lot more people are moving out of the Bay Area because they have the option to work from home, and you can get so much more home out here
Yeah.
for, half the price than
Yeah.
it is in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
So it's been a very intense, crazy market, whether you're buying a new construction or a resale home. They're both equally competitive.
Mhm.
Even new construction, I've had clients wait 6 months, you know, just waiting to put a deposit on a home. And then even then it's like another 8 months to a
Mhm.
year until you finally, your home's done. So people are waiting. And like I said, it's just very competitive out here right now. It's like the Bay
Mhm.
Area.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So with smaller, with lower price points, but still those
Yeah.
price points, as you keep getting competitive, those price points continue
Oh,
to
yeah.
raise.
Right.
And so it's no joke. But what I really want to leave the people with, if they need an agent, or of course, even whether it be in the Bay Area, San Jose, because that's where I'm at. But over there inside that area, if someone wanted to contact you and get a hold of you, how would they do that?
They can email me, call me, text me,
And
away.
so go ahead and give that information. How would they? What's your phone number?
Okay, my phone number is 408-425-7586. My email is Jenny, Jenny, at eq1re.com. And yeah, either way, email,
Website?
text, call.
Website?
Website, jennypulaski.com.
Excellent. And then Pulaski is spelled?
Pulaski.
And I'll have the information, contact information on my website, Instagram, things of that nature when we actually go live on my social media. And so, of course, I got to leave you guys with my information because you guys keep telling me that I don't do it. But Tamika Ellsworth, you can contact me there. I'm obviously on Instagram too at Tamika Ellsworth. And you can catch me on TikTok, and that's real estate _ T, and website TamikaEllsworth.com. And again, that number 408-561-7922. And that number is 408-561-7922. And so us wrapping up, Jenny, give some I guess pointers to agents out there, being kind of put in just positions right now, just to position themselves. How should they position themselves in order to just in this market, just to better serve their clients?
Well, if you have a buyer, I would recommend constantly communicating with the listing agent. Like I said, I think communication goes a long way.
Mhm.
You're just submitting an offer, it's just getting it lost in the midst of probably 20, 30 offers out there. So I really do feel the communication is key. And tell that story. If your client has a story to tell, you should tell it. It doesn't always have to be in a letter, but at least have the
Mhm.
communication with the listing agent. And as far as the listing agents go, if you're on that side of the transaction, I just feel like I would be open to receiving those letters or having those conversations. Sometimes, as a listing agent, I know they're bombarded with a ton of offers, but I still feel like it is important. There's still that human element of it. So it's just important to keep the lines of communication open.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for that. And like, shoot, I don't want to miss, I don't want to miss it. I'm always looking to be just for the miracle aspect to it.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not necessarily a part of it, I want to be able to be used for it, not just to be a piece of it. I want to be able to be used. And sometimes it's through our advocacy, and a lot of it's through just us being open to hearing things and communicating things, and just, again, being that great advocate for our clients. So again, thank you, Jen, for being a guest. Love
Thank
your
you for
story,
having
and
me.
hopefully I have more time more opportunities in order to share. Thank you, everyone. Tamika Ellsworth, equipping people of faith for the home buying process. Thank you for tuning in to Faith and Home Buying.